with cell unit of life, but kuch to ho gaya with the network issue. There was very bad network issue in my area. So some part of that जो है ना last class का वो हम लोग वापस एक बार revise करेंगे, so that those who have missed it or it was a lag or discontinuity जो भी आ रहा था ना, we can definitely look forward. Okay, तो एक बार उसको हम देख लेते हैं.
Ma'am,
Yes, beta.
can I ask you one thing?
Sure.
Ma'am, can you send this PPT on the group on the day which the lesson is started?
On the day when the lesson is started?
Yes,
it will be
so
very
that
difficult
it becomes
for you all
easier
to
for us to
correlate
write.
the things, beta. It will be
No,
very difficult for you all to correlate.
Sometimes, ma'am, what happens now? We sometimes miss a screenshot. That's why it.
Ma'am, I too have a habit of taking screenshots. I also find a lot of difficulty in coping up with the screenshots. Sometimes while we are concentrating on your explanation, you forget to take the screenshot and lot of mess happens.
Yes, ma'am.
So you want me to send it first so that you all can...
So that we can study. Once you give the explanation, we go and read the screenshot one more time so that we understand better, and sometimes we just miss it out, so the link is broken.
Link is broken.
Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
let's see. What happens is now, generally what will happen now, if I send it first now, many a times what happens is you all are in a hurry to go ahead and do the things further, and then you miss between the lines wala thing of the explanations, and you make wrong notations in your mind. That is what has happened, like every time. But okay, if you all want, I don't mind. I can send you all early also. Nothing like that. But देखते हैं, चलो फाइन. वैसे भी आज तो ये खत्म होने ही वाला है.
Thank you, ma'am.
Fine. So now we go ahead with what? We go ahead with cilia and flagella. Okay, in the last class we had started with this. I had explained something about the microtubules. I was talking about the cytoskeleton, in fact. And cytoskeleton, I told you all that just the way as we have got our own skeleton, our bones that make up our skeleton, in the same way, there is something called as cytoskeleton that is going to be present. That's going to be of the cell ka अंदर का जो skeleton है. That is what we were talking about. And we also saw that it was also showing something called as 3 types of structures that make up the internal structure of our cell, and that's going to be microtubules, microfilament, and intermediate fibers. So we saw how 3 of them are different from each other. That is how one is going to be capable of contraction while other is not capable of contraction, and second is going to be showing the properties of both, therefore we call it as intermediate fibers. So those things, of course, we have seen in details, but still, as I say, if you wish to, just go through it very quickly. So microtubules, I told you, are made up of 13 protofilaments, right? These are the 13 protofilaments. In the cross section, you see them like this. Microfilaments are those which are going to be found only in eukaryotic cells, and they are unbranched, but they are rods and they are solid fibers. Though they are solid fibers, now they are going to be composed of what? They are going to be composed of actin and myosin. And we already know that actin and myosin are going to be a component like our muscle fibers. And so microfilaments are capable of undergoing contraction, right?
That means when you take
So that
damage,
is
your
helping
hearts
in.
do not regenerate.
Someone's
Each
mic
member
is
starts
on.
with 10 lives, and every time you die, you lose
Someone's
a heart.
mic is
This means
on.
if you die
I
9
can hear
times, you only have
something.
1 life left and only 1 heart. And if you die for that 10th and
Who's
final
this?
time, that means it's series over. To make things even more difficult, you guys watching this right now are able to vote on changes that will happen to the world. Will we be able to
Who's
survive
this?
this
Please
series,
stop
or you
it.
guys completely curse us? Well, there's only one way to find out, and that's by clicking that subscribe button and also leaving a like on this video. Welcome
Ashwin.
to the UHC Boys
Ashwin, your
SMP.
mic is
Okay,
on.
a fitting way to start our first
Ashwin Mishra.
episode would be to do some risky building at night time. Now, as you guys know, if you've ever seen a UHC before, nighttime
Ashwin
is
Mishra, your
one of
mic
the
is
most
on.
dangerous times. But let's start off the series in style. Let's build the first ever building at spawn, and we're gonna.
Okay. So these were your microfilaments basically that they were going to be helping in contraction. That is, they are helping in cell division to form the furrow or the cleavage, as we say. It's also going to help in amoeboid movements and all. So everything is because of these microfilaments. Then there was something called as intermediate fibers. Those are again non-contractile, but they are hollow, and their main function is what they are going to be, like they provide mechanical strength to the cell, and they help in cell to cell junctions. So that is the main function of these intermediate fibers. So that is what we were talking about, the cytoskeleton. And then we had moved on to cilia and flagella, and then there was a lot of, you know hodgepodge things that were going on. But still, we tried to complete cilia and flagella. That is, cilia, small structures, they are like oars. Flagella are going to be really long and thicker as compared to cilia. Flagella are comparatively less in numbers. Cilia are abundant in numbers, is what is the general thing that we study about. And then when we talk about the electron microscopic study of the two structures, that time we come to know that the cilia or flagella internally are going to be showing similar type of anatomy. Okay, so internally they are going to be made up of a core, and their core is going to be called as axoneme, and this will be covered by your plasma membrane from outside. So when we look into the structures of them, we saw that there were 9 pairs of doublets. So you can see here, these are the 9 pairs of doublets. These are the 9 pair of doublets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, now what are these? This one ring, is one microtubule, which is made up of 13 protofilaments. This is another ring made up of one microtubule, again internally 13 protofilaments. So in this way ना, these are the two के pairs में होते हैं. ये कितने pairs हैं? How many pairs are going to be there in totality? 9 pairs are going to be there. Okay, so we have got 9 pairs of doublets of radially arranged peripheral microtubules. So at the periphery we have got 9 doublets. Okay, and a central pair at the center. So a pair of centrally located microtubules. लेकिन फर्क देखिए आगे बेटा, ये सारे डबलेट्स में है, और ये एक सिंगलेट और ये एक सिंगलेट ऐसे मिलके ये डबलेट हो रहा है, जस्ट लाइक अ डम्बल शेप स्ट्रक्चर. तो सेंटर में देर आर 2 एंड पेरिफेरी में देर आर 9. Okay, such type of arrangement of axonal microtubule is referred to as 9+2 arrangement, or is called as 9+2 array. फाइन. अब ये जो 9+2 array है, ये किसका है? It is of cilia and flagella. So whenever we take a cross section of cilia or we take a cross section of flagella, we'll be able to see such type of arrangement under the electron microscope. Okay, the central tubules are connected by bridges. You can see this bridge, ये जो connector है, this is called as the bridge, and are enclosed by a central sheath. This green color ka sheath that you can very well see around it is going to be called as the central sheath. So it's going to be covered centrally by the central sheath, which is connected to one of the tubules of each peripheral doublet by a radial spoke. That means these sheath is going to make connections with these radial spokes. And if you see, for each pair there is one radial spoke emerging out. तो ये दोनों का मिलकर ये रेडियल स्पोक, ये दोनों का मिलकर ये रेडियल स्पोक, ये दोनों का मिलकर ये रेडियल स्पोक। इसीलिए कितने रेडियल स्पोक्स होते हैं? तो 9 पेरिफेरल डबलेट्स है, उनका 9 रेडियल स्पोक्स निकल आते हैं बाहर। एंड व्हाट आर द स्पोक्स आर गोइंग टू बी? दे आर जस्ट गोइंग टू बी एक्टिंग लाइक अ कनेक्टर. So they are going to eventually connect to the central sheath and they'll keep the entire assembly together interconnected. Okay, so which is connected by the radial spokes. Thus, there are 9 radial spokes. The peripheral doublets are also interconnected by linkers. Now here you can see these linkers, these blue color ke things that you can see very clearly. Okay, right? And even you can see this red color ke uh, like connectors. Can you see these connectors? Yeah. So we have got linkers which are internally connecting the 9 peripheral doublets. Both the cilium and the flagellum emerge from the centriole-like structure called as the basal body. Now, unless and until I don't explain what is the centriole structure, it will be difficult for you all to understand what is the basal body. But anyways, just remember that they emerge from centriole-like structure. It is not the centriola. It is centriole-like structure called as the basal body. Okay. Now, if you see A and B tubule, so this one will be called as an A tubule. The other will be called as B tubule. So again, A, B, A, B, A, B. Everywhere there's going to be A, B. And generally from the A, you can see the radial spoke emerging out. Okay. And these linkers are going to be made up of proteins. Fine. Even you can see this nexin written over here. So this nexin is also a protein which is going to be keeping the entire assembly connected. And these linkers, this blue color ka things that you can see now, see these blue color ka things, those are called as the linkers. They are made up of dynein as a protein. So dynein has the capacity to squeeze, that is to contract and become normal. So like, okay, I'll just show you how does it look like. See, so it's going to look something like this way. That is these dynein arms. So imagine, of course, I've got 5. So these dynein arms now, they are going to bring. So where is the dynein arm? See, it is connected with the A. Okay, it is not connected with the B. So what will happen? These dynein arms or the linkers will now squeeze. They will squeeze. Okay, they are capable of contraction. So as the dynein will squeeze, don't you think the B of the doublet would now come nearer because of the squeezing? They are pulling the entire assembly. So this
Yes,
assembly is going to be pulled. This assembly is going to be pulled. And when they relax, it will be pushed. So in this way, the cilia and the flagella help in, you know, movement. So that is what they are saying. Flagella is purely associated with movement, even cilia to some extent, but cilia is helping in, it's acting like oars. So it's pushing the cytoplasm behind, like that way they are saying, right? But what is the main ideology for this action to do? It has to squeeze, it has to relax. So the squeezing or the contraction is only possible because of the dynein arms. So please remember that dynein arms, where they have written, is also going to be the predominant feature of these cilia and flagella to cause a movement. Okay, so if you see the flagella, have you seen the like anytime, if I don't know if you have viewed anything on your National Geographic or Discovery or somewhere, they show these type of flagellar movements. So this particular thing that is going to be like moving like this way, it's going to be just because of this pulling of the dynein arms. Okay, so please remember always that cilia and flagella, they are going to have something called as your dyneins for a particular movement associated with it. Yeah, coral reefs you might have. Yeah, yeah. Okay. Then the next one, similar, but the next one is going to be the centrosome. Now, what is the difference between your centrosome and centriole? Understand this. See, when I use the word centrosome, that means I don't have pens with me right now. Anyway, so this is going to be one centriole. This is going to be another centriole, which are going to lie perpendicular to each other. Okay, they lie perpendicular to each other. One centriole with another centriole, they lie perpendicular to each other. This entire assembly, two centrioles held together. Okay, this entire assembly is going to be called as a centrosome. Let me tell you, centrosome does not have any plasma membrane. उसके ऊपर कोई plasma membrane नहीं होता है, इसलिए ये जो है ना, even it is going to be an open naked type of assembly. Of whom? Of whom? Of the two centrioles. So these two centrioles are going to be lying perpendicular to each other. Did you understand this? So this perpendicular structure जो centriole का है, इनके assembly को हम कहते हैं centrosome. So see, centrosomes are present in animal cells and cells of lower plants. Yeah. So higher plants do not show centrioles, but lower plants may. They are talking about algae, bryophytes. Of course, we'll be going ahead with them eventually. Centrosome is an organelle usually containing two cylindrical structures called as centrioles, and they are surrounded by amorphous pericentriolar material. It's not plasma membrane. Your mitochondria, chloroplast, endoplasmic reticulum, lysosome, and all those organelles that we saw, it had a gift packing of plasma membrane. Here there is no plasma membrane. They're just going to be surrounded by pericentriolar materials which are amorphous in nature. Okay. Both the centrioles in a centrosome lie perpendicular to each other, in which each has an organization which resembles a cartwheel. Cartwheel समझते हो? Cartwheel होता है ना एक typical, उसका एक जो structure होता है, it looks like that. So the cartwheel like appearance is going to be the speciality of our centrosome के centrioles का. So right now I'll be talking about the centriole, that is one single centriole. तो ये जो perpendicular structure है उसमें एक जो है, how does it look like? Okay, so I'm focusing on one. So one centriole will be made up of 9 evenly spaced peripheral fibrils of tubulin, just like how we saw doublets of microtubules. Here is going to be triplets of microtubules. So you can very well see B, C, A, B, C. ऐसे triplets है 9 के orientation में. Again 9 only. So 9 remains common. Even for Celia flagella you saw there were 9 doublets. Here also it's going to be your 9 only, but instead of doublets it's going to be triplets. Okay, 9 triplets से बना हुआ है. Each of the peripheral fibril is a triplet. You saw A, B, C. The adjacent triplets are also going to be linked to each other, just like how doublets were linked. I just now showed you. The central part of the centriole is also proteinaceous, and it is going to be called as the hub. Now, this is the difference. Here, there is nothing called as microtubules present. The center is not made up of microtubules. Rather, the center is made up of proteinaceous substance, which is called as hub, HUB. So, there the arrangement was 9 plus 2, right? Here, it's 9 plus 0 because there is no microtubule at the center. Okay, so it is going to be having protein, but it is not a microtubule. So you know, like in 2014 or something, this question was asked, which was stating about the select the incorrect statement, and they said that the centriole is having 9 peripheral triplets with no with space at the center. So that space as the center was a wrong statement. It is not having a space. It is having a material made up of protein called as hub. Okay. So central part is going to be called as hub, HUB hub. So which is connected with the tubules of the peripheral triplets by the radial spokes made up of proteins. Made up of proteins. So it's made up of proteins is very important. Now here you can see the connectors also. You can see the spokes, how they are moving ahead, right? You can see them. The centriole forms the basal body of cilia or flagella. So this is going to be the basal body through which the doublets and the 9 peripheral doublets and the 2 central singlets would arise to give 9 plus 2 arrangement. So these forms the base. Who forms the base? This centriole. Okay, the centriole forms the basal body of the cilia or flagella, and spindle fibers that give rise to spindle apparatus during cell division in animal cells. So we saw the astral rays are predominantly a characteristic feature of animal cells. In cell division, we have seen it, right? That astral rays are the ones which are important for the cell division to be carried forward in a smooth way. So this astral ray formation is specifically the function of these centrioles. Okay, so centriole is going to be 9 plus 0. Cilia flagella is going to be 9 plus 2. Got it? Okay. Any doubts still here before I move over with nucleus? Anyone having any difficulty? No doubts? 9 plus 2 क्या है और 9 plus 0 क्या है, समझ में आया है? Now, if you remember in human reproduction chapter, uh, when I was teaching you all the uh, structure of the spermatozoa, in that also I had explained this spermatozoa ka flagella or the tail. Okay, it is made of 9 plus 2 arrangement. अभी आप correlate कर सकते हो वो वाले PPT के साथ. Just open your human reproduction chapter ka PPT for spermatogenesis. In that, go with the study of structure of the spermatozoa and check 9 plus 2 arrangement there. So the same thing has been explained now. So it will be very easy for you all to now understand the concept clearly in your mind. Okay.
Ma'am,
Then we go ahead with the most important. Yes.
cilia and flagella come like that. Their basal thing is centriole. Sorry, centrosome. Right.
सीलिया फ्लैजेला का सेंट्रोसोम से कुछ लेना देना नहीं है बेटा. सेंट्रोसोम मतलब a pair of centrioles is called as a centrosome. And centriole का जो 9 plus 0 वाला जो arrangement है, that is going to be like the basal body for the flagella and cilia to make the doublets in their orientation. So there is nothing to do with the centrosome and the cilia flagella. It's the
Ma'am,
centriole that is going to be responsible for this particular arrangement of 9 plus 2 in cilia flagella. Okay.
I thought basal body means they come up from there. Sorry.
No.
Okay,
Okay.
ma'am. Thank you
So
so
that
much.
was the reason in basal body wala part na they are saying centriole like basal body is what we said. It's
Yes,
centriole
ma'am.
like.
Exactly. Thank you,
Okay.
ma'am.
Yeah. Well, now we go ahead with the nucleus. Nucleus, of course, is called as the remote control of our entire cell. So why is it the remote control? Let us understand. Nucleus as a cell organelle was first described by Robert Brown. Now there is always a confusion between students for Robert Brown, Robert Hooke. So be very careful with such type of words which are names which are resembling each other. So Robert Brown is with nucleus. Okay. In 1831, later the material of the nucleus was stained by basic dyes and was given the name chromatin by Fleming. So Fleming, for the first time, he gave this word chromatin after staining with basic dyes. So we have got acidic dyes, we have got basic dyes, we have got neutral dyes accordingly. Okay. Normally there is going to be only one nucleus per cell. Variations in the number of nuclei are also frequently observed. Normally, one cell, one nucleus is the normal ratio. But that doesn't mean that there cannot be two nuclei or multinuclei condition. In some organisms, two nuclei and multinuclei conditions are, like observed as a part of it. Fine. Some mature cells even lack nucleus. For example, RBCs, they do not have a nucleus. Even the sieve tube cells of the plants, which are a part of the phloem, sieve tube cells are a part of phloem, which is helping in food conduction. Even mature sieve tube cells, they do not have a nucleus. Okay. Certain cells may have more than one nuclei. Accordingly, they may be called as binucleate, which is seen in paramecium. I think you know paramecium has got two nuclei. One is called as the meganucleus and one is called as the micronucleus.
Yes, ma'am.
Huh. So paramecium is going to have two nuclei, that is binucleate condition. Or it could be polynucleate condition as seen in our striated muscles. We have already seen the chapter of structural organization in organisms. In that we saw that striated muscles have got so many nuclei. It's polynucleated condition as well. So there's no fixed rule, but generally what is observed in normal conditions. The polynucleate cells of animals is called as syncytial cells, and polynucleate condition is plant is going to be called as cenocytic. Please remember these terms. Syncytial is the word associated with zoology, and cenocytic or cenocytes is the word associated with botany. So if they ask you this in plants, या फिर in fungus, then please call it as cenocytic. If they ask you this particular term in animals, then it will be called as syncytium. So I don't want anyone of you all to make a mistake in this. Please register these 2 points in your mind, because these are the questions that are easy and you are going to lose marks in this. So no one should forget what is syncytial condition and what is cenocytic condition. Okay, meaning is the same. Polynucleate condition, many nuclei present per cell. But in animal cell, the condition is syncytial. In human cell, it is going plant cell, it is going to be cenocytic. Okay, generally human cells में syncytial conditions नहीं होते हैं. Fine. The shape of the nucleus may be spherical, which is seen in cuboidal cells. It could be ovoid or elongated, as seen in columnar cells. It could be elliptical, or it could be discoidal, squamous epithelial cells. These things we have done, so I'm sure that you can imagine the thing. It could be bilobed or multilobed, as seen in your RBCs. So if you see the red blood cells now, you can see it as bilobed or multilobed structure. Okay. Your WBCs में. There are many which you will come across in the chapter of circulation. It could be C shape in vorticella. In certain cells, the nucleus is irregular shape. So the shape doesn't matter. Shape is not, going to have any significant, functional role. The shape could be any. The size of the nucleus may also vary from 3 μm to 25 μm. So again, the size doesn't matter. The interphase nucleus, you already know that interphase is one of the phases of your cell division. Can anyone tell me the 3 sub stages of interphase? Who can tell me the 3 sub stages of interphase? Come on.
Ma'am, G1 phase, S phase, G2 phase.
Very nice, very nice. G1 phase, S phase, and G2 phase. Exactly, perfect. So during that particular time, okay, so we are talking about that particular time ka nucleus. So the interphase nucleus, that is when the nucleus is not in a dividing state. Okay, it is not dividing. In the M phase, it will undergo division. But right now, it is not undergoing any division. Correct? So during the non-dividing phase, has highly extended chromatin material. Okay, so C has highly extended and consists of nuclear envelope, nucleoplasm, nucleolus, and chromatin. Nuclear envelope, as the name says, you already know what's an envelope. So envelope is going to be nothing but a covering. Okay. Nucleoplasm is the cytoplasm of nucleus. Fine. Nucleolus is again going to be, one of the important cell bodies present inside the nucleus for RNA formation. I'll talk about that also. And chromatin material. Chromatin material is nothing but it's going to be your DNA, basically. So I'll go ahead with that also. I'll explain that also. So first is nuclear envelope. The electron microscopy has revealed that the nuclear envelope, which consists of 2 parallel nuclear membranes enclosing a perinuclear space in between with nuclear pores, annuli, central granule and fibrous lamina. अब ये सब मिलके क्या बनता है बेटा? Nuclear membrane बनता है. So the nuclear membrane is double membrane structure. But how is it double membrane? It will form 2 membranes and it will fuse at a particular point. Okay, so the outer membrane and the inner membrane are 2 membranes. So they'll fuse at a point. Then again, there will be another fusion, another fusion, another fusion. So there will be gaps in between. There'll be gaps in between. So those gaps will be called as pores. Okay, we call them as pores. Now, when there is going to be pores, there is a high frequency, high chance that through the pores something may go out or something may come in. Open gate अगर है ना, सिक्योरिटी नहीं हो तो कोई भी अंदर बाहर जा सकता है कि नहीं, करेक्ट है। तो इसको सिक्योरिटी गार्ड के लिए एक सिक्योरिटी गार्ड उसके लिए बिठाया गया है, और उस सिक्योरिटी गार्ड का जो नाम है, उस सिक्योरिटी गार्ड का जो नाम है वो है सेंट्रल ग्रैन्यूल। व्हाट इज द नेम ऑफ द सिक्योरिटी गार्ड? द सेंट्रल ग्रैन्यूल। ओके, और सिक्योरिटी गार्ड कहाँ बिठाया है? गेट पे बिठाया है। सो वेदर द गेट शुड बी ओपन और इट शुड बी क्लोज्ड, दैट गेट, the name of that gate is annually. So just imagine, you can just imagine in a very simple way. You all have got the main doors. सबके घर पे मेन डोर है ना? मेन डोर जो है अभी आजकल तो लॉक नहीं रहते हैं। Nowadays you don't get locks, you get that no वो लैच वाला लॉक आजकल होता है। बट ड्यूरिंग माय टाइम्स you can ask your parents, or you might have even seen it. पहले ना ऐसे ये हुआ करता था, ऐसे कड़ी बोलते थे हम लोग उसको, कड़ी लगाने पड़ती थी।
Yes, ma'am, padlock.
हाँ, एंड उसमें है ना ऐसा लॉक फिट होता था।
Padlock, that's called padlock.
You could actually fit the lock into it. So it's exactly like that way. That particular door is going to have that latch lock, okay, and it will have a lock present on it. So the lock will be the central granule, and that kadi jo main bol rahi hu na, that will be the annuli. And therefore, though it's an opening, though it's a pore, it's not going to be uncontrolled. It's controlled. Only when required, it will be open and someone will be allowed to enter inside. Only when required, it will be open and it will be allowed for someone to go outside. So even if there are pores present in the nuclear membrane, it's under the control. It's not like anyone can come and anyone can go out. Okay, got it? Yeah. And it's going to have something called as fibrous lamina. So I'll go into the details of them, of course. You can see the diagram very clearly now. You can see the gaps. Look at the gaps. Okay. So first is going to be your nuclear membrane. So the outer membrane usually remains continuous with the endoplasmic reticulum and also bears ribosome on it. So we saw when we learned about endoplasmic reticulum that it is the continuation of the nuclear membrane. ये हमने already बोला था starting में ही. So that is what they are saying, that the outer membrane will usually remain continuous with the endoplasmic reticulum. Okay, and it would also bear ribosomes. Here you can see this is the outer membrane, and here you can see even ribosomes are present over there, right? Inner nuclear membrane is associated with the fibrous lamina attached to its inner surface. अब ये जो fibrous lamina है ना, it looks like a झालर लगाते हैं, पता है? We use for decorations and all, जो हम ये लगाते हैं fine threads के जैसा जो लगाते हैं for decoration purpose, वैसे ही ना there is going to be a fibrous lamina which is going to be forming the inner layer. Okay, so your inner layer is going to be attached to the inner surface via your fibrous lamina. Each membrane has a trilaminar unit which is going to be made up of 7 to 8 nanometers in thickness. So each layer is going to have 3 internal layers sandwiched in between. That is the way they look like. So you have to peel off first layer, then second layer, and the third layer to understand the structure of outer membrane. Similarly, you will peel 1, 2, 3 layers to understand the structure of the inner membrane, is what they want to say. Fine. Then there's going to be something called as a perinuclear space. We have seen perimitochondrial space. We have seen the chloroplast mein also, we have seen the plastids ke beech mein wo space, so we know what is peri. So perinuclear space. So it is a space that is going to be present between the two membranes, which is going to be around 10 to 50 nanometers. So here you can very well see in this diagram, they have shown it very clearly. Here, this is the perinuclear space, right? This is going to be the chromatin material. The pink one which is spread over here is the chromatin material. This blue color is going to be your mRNA molecule. This light pink color is the nucleoplasm. That is going to be your cytoplasm. Look at this marble-like structure. This is going to be the nucleolus. It's going to be the nucleolus. I'll tell you the function of course. And these are the nuclear membranes, inner and outward.
Ma'am,
Endoplasmic reticulum is attached to the nuclear membrane. It's in continuation with your endoplasmic reticulum. Yeah, bolo beta.
ma'am, chromatin fibers meaning the chromosomes.
I'll tell you. I'll tell you. When I come to chromatin fibers, now I'll tell you, because
Okay, ma'am.
this is
Thank you.
something which needs to be explained. And if you understand this year, then your next year के 40 marks, 12th standard के 40 marks आपके pockets में आ जाएंगे आज के दिन में ही. अगर आप क्रोमैटिन क्या है ये आज अगर समझोगे ना, तो 40 मार्क्स आपके जेब में आज ही मैं डालूंगी. 40 मार्क्स इन योर पॉकेट्स राइट नाउ टुडे, because it's a part of your 12th standard syllabus, and 40 marks ke questions are coming in your board exams also, your KVPY also, in your NEET exam also. Everywhere 40 marks ke questions aate hain just on your basis of chromatin. So I'll explain in detail what is it. It will be very simple for you all to understand that. Okay. Well, then we come to nuclear pores. So at number of places, the nuclear envelope is interrupted by minute pores, which are formed by the fusion of the two membranes. So here you can see this diagram. You can see these are the gaps present over here, right? So these gaps are going to be called as nuclear pores, right? These nuclear pores are the passages through which movement of RNA and protein molecules take place in both the directions. That is, they may move out of the nucleus into the cytoplasm, or they may be moving from the cytoplasm into the nucleus. So it's a two-way traffic. Fine. Annually, the nuclear pores are enclosed by electron dense rings or cylinders called as annuli. So these are going to be the gates. Fine. There's going to be a gate, there's going to be a door. This door is annuli. The nuclear core together with annulus is called as a pore complex. So what is a pore complex? The nuclear pore plus the annuli. Annuli is the gate or annuli is the door. Okay. The annuli may function as a kind of diaphragm. Diaphragm in the sense, you know, na, whether to allow anyone to come in or not allow. So it's going to be movable type of a thing. Okay. While pore complex works as a structure for selective permeability, the nucleus will choose. Let me choose what I want inside, what I don't want inside. So it's a selective permeability ka function is the predominant, function of your annuli or the pore complex, to be very specific. Then we have got the central granule. I told you, just like a lock on your latch. Similarly, this is the central granule. So central granule is present in the pore complex. Fine, but it is not a constant feature. अब पूरा टाइम कोई लॉक लगा के रखेगा नहीं ना, जब चाहिए तब लॉक हम लोग लगाएंगे ना. So it's not a constant feature, but anytime, it may be added on. So that's going to be your central granule. Fine. Then we come to the next, and the subtopic is fibrous lamina. See, Harris and James for the first time described the presence of the fibrous material on the inner surface of the inner membrane. They observed it in amoeba. They observed first time in amoeba. It is composed mainly of acid proteins. It represents honeycomb pattern. So it actually looks like an honeycomb. Find this fibrous lamina. Nuclear envelope separates nuclear material from the cytoplasm. So cytoplasmic content and the nucleoplasm content is different because of these cell envelope, or rather the nuclear envelope. It is concerned with nucleocytoplasmic exchange. न्यूक्लियस में और साइटोप्लाज्म में क्या एक्सचेंज कराना है वो डिसाइड करेगा. It provides surface area for the attachment of endoplasmic reticulum and chromatin material. It is concerned with synthesis of proteins. The outer nuclear membrane gives off vesicles which fuse and eventually give rise to endoplasmic reticulum. So your fibrous lamina is going to be something which is, a transient type of a structure, which when present looks like a honeycomb. It can, get detached in the form of vesicles, which will eventually form your endoplasmic reticulum as well. Okay, so that's about the fibrous lamina. Then we come to nucleoplasm. The term nucleoplasm was given by Strasburger. Now nucleoplasm and cytoplasm, they both are going to be actually the same. but with a minor difference. What? The content wise. The content wise. Okay. So that content we have to understand what is it. So see, nucleoplasm is transparent, semi-solid, granular, slightly acidophilic ground substance. It is also known as the nuclear sap, or it's also called as the karyolymph. Remember these words because these are the synonyms of nucleoplasm. It's going to contain nucleolus, chromatin, protein, enzymes, and minerals. All are going to be present in your nucleoplasm. The nucleoli, the nucleoli is something which is a structure found in the nucleoplasm. How is it important? It's very important. Just see. An Italian scientist named Felix Fontana, they have asked this, huh? That nucleolus was discovered by whom and nucleus is discovered by whom. So nucleus is discovered by your Robert Brown and nucleolus is discovered by Fontana. Don't forget Mr. Fontana. So he was an Italian scientist. He found out for the first time the nucleolus in eel cells. You know, eel fish. है ना? In the eel cells in the year 1774. Imagine that time it was so very difficult to actually get to so much of detailing, right? They are spherical structures present in the nucleoplasm. The content of nucleolus is continuous with the rest of the nucleoplasm as it is not a membrane bound organelle. It does not have anything wrapped around it. So the nucleoplasm का content and the cytoplasm का content is going to be actually merging. But उसी में एक ऐसा एग्रीगेट दिखाई देता है, न्यूक्लियोप्लाज्म का एग्रीगेट दिखाई देता है जिसको हम कहते हैं न्यूक्लियोलस. Okay. It is a site for active ribosomal RNA synthesis. So in the last class, I had told you all about rRNA. अगर आपको याद है तो मैंने आपको डायग्राम बना के दिए थे. मैंने आपको डायग्राम बना के दिया था, 2 डॉल्स बना के दिए थे और मैंने आपको राइबोसोम का स्ट्रक्चर बताया था that what are the contents of the 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s with proteins मैंने आपको बना के दिए थे, है ना? So that rRNA. Can you tell me an example of any of the rRNA of prokaryotes? Prokaryotes में कौन से rRNA के strips present होते हैं? Who will tell me? Come on, rRNA in ribosome. Pallade particles मैंने last class में explain किए थे and I told you all that this is the rRNA. I told you how many proteins are going to be present and how many rRNA are going to be present. Which rRNA are going to be present? Come on. No one? Are you all not studying? 21 proteins, 33 proteins, 34 proteins. मैंने सारे detailing किए थे भाई along with the diagram I had given you. Hadn't I? Do you remember something called as 16S rRNA, 23S rRNA, 5S rRNA? कुछ भी याद नहीं किसी को भी? Come on, I want answers, my dears. Quickly.
Ma'am,
हाँ.
can you repeat the question?
My question, yes, Neha, you're right. My question is very simple. Which type of rRNA is found in prokaryotic cells? I had made a diagram also for you all. Which srRNA? You're right with srRNA, but which type of? 70S is going to be the total. In that, which rRNA will be present? 70S will have 30S and 40S ka subunit, 30S and 50S ka subunit. So 30S will have which rRNA and 50S will have which rRNA? Come on. हाँ, Shruti, you're right, beta. Shruti is right. Shravani is right. Sonali is right. Perfect. Ashwin, you're close. You should add +1. Who else? Sonali, very good, beta. 50S का भी बिल्कुल सही बताया. Yes, Ashwin right now. Shravani, very good. Very good. हाँ, श्रावणी का एक ही आंसर रॉन्ग हो गया है. Komal is right. Sneha is right. Shruti, you have just changed the numbers. You have twisted it. It should not be 32. It is 23. So it is 16S, 23S, right? And along with 23S, I had told you it is 5S also. So your prokaryotic ribosome is going to have 16S in the smaller subunit and 23S and 5S in the larger subunit. In the same way, do you all recollect what is there in the eukaryotic cell? यूकैरियोटिक राइबोसोम 80S में क्या सीन होता है? How much in 40? How much in 60? Come on, tell me, फटाफट. Very good, श्रावणी. Very nice, बेटा. बिल्कुल सही आंसर. सबसे पहले जवाब दिया है. Yes, कोमल right. Komal, I want 2 more. Total, there are 4 rRNAs present. Very good. Sneha, right? Very good, Sneha. Perfect, my dear. Perfect. Very nice. Very nice. Very nice. Excellent. Yes, Samiksha. You're right with one answer. Give me the other 3 also, beta. Shravani. Very good, Shravani. Very good, beta. Perfect. Very nice. Very nice. So, yes, you all are right. So, it's going to be your 18S in the smaller subunit, 18S rRNA in the smaller subunit, and you will have 5S, 5.8S, and 28S rRNA in your larger subunit, that is 60S वाला, है ना? So, इसे मैंने डायग्राम बना के दिया था और मैंने तब उधर लिखवाया भी था आपको. That please remember this. So that is the most important. That is the most important part. Okay?
That's the best diagram.
Yeah, because when you do it according to the diagram, you can remember it. If you
Yes.
read that content, you will get confused. So that is the reason I made that diagram. So generally, when these lectures are being carried out as physical lectures, there is no need only for writing down in that line format. We to explain everything, on the diagram basis only. But anyways, so for that, I had drawn this diagram with the whiteboard over here. Anyway.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, so that all, let it be, if it's a prokaryotic cell, it's going to be a eukaryotic cell, it's going to have 18S, it's going to have 28S, 5S, 5.8S. ये सारे ribosomal RNA synthesized कहाँ हो रहे हैं? Where are they being synthesized? They are being synthesized in the nucleolus. Okay, so nucleolus is the site for the formation of active ribosomal RNA. So ribosomal RNA, rRNA, ये कहाँ बनते हैं? तो वो बनते हैं न्यूक्लियोलस में. न्यूक्लियोलस कहाँ प्रेजेंट है? वो न्यूक्लियस में प्रेजेंट है. So nucleus का cytoplasm will have an aggregated cytoplasmic area which will be called as nucleolus, where this rRNA synthesis is going to take place. Okay, understood? Clear?
Ma'am,
Yes, beta.
can you go to the fibrous lamina wala slide? Ma'am, actually, when we are we are taking the screenshot and saving now, we go by these small page numbers. This 80 page number small wala. And fibrous lamina, and the next slide also has 80. So I got confused. Did I take a screenshot or no? Thank you, ma'am.
You can see the page numbers over here. At the base here, you can see the page numbers here.
Yes, ma'am, but 2 pages have same page number. That's why I got confused.
No, this is different.
Yes. This is 80 and that's also 80. Like that.
Larger and more numerous nucleoli are present in the cells which are carrying out active synthesis of proteins. Okay, so those who are actively involved in protein synthesis, they will have more of the nucleoli. Fine. So which are those which are having active protein synthesis? Active protein synthesis means continuously protein synthesis will keep on happening continuously. Those cells are going to be the oocytes, the neurons, the secretory cells. All of them are constantly making some or the other type of protein, and therefore they require a lot of nucleoli in them. So a nucleus might have more than one nucleoli. Okay. The cells with little or no synthetic activity, like the sperm cells, blastomeres, muscle cells, they contain small or they may not contain nucleoli at all. Fine. Most cells have single nucleolus. Almost all cells will have one nucleus with one nucleolus. Okay. However, cells such as liver cells and certain lymphocytes have two nucleoli. Now, understand this. These are the questions which you go wrong with. They ask you multi nucleolus condition. You mark multi-nucleate condition. They ask two nucleoli condition. You mark many nucleoli condition. So oocytes, neurons, secretory cells, they are going to have many nucleoli, while the liver cells and lymphocytes will have only two nucleoli, and rest of the cells normally have a single nucleoli. Okay, so ये जो exceptions है, you have to remember them for your examinations. Nucleolus has four chief components. So what is that nucleolus actually going to be? It's going to have an amorphous matrix. Amorphous समझते हो? What is the meaning of amorphous? Anyone who can tell me the meaning of amorphous? What's amorphous, beta? Yeah,
Powdery.
powdery, the one which cannot dissolve. Okay, so even if you take your talcum powder, ये जो पॉन्ड्स की पाउडर होती है ना, वो भी अगर आपने ले ली और पानी में डालने की कोशिश की ना, तो it will float, it will form clumps, it will float, it will not get dissolved, right? So that is amorphous. So even this is going to have something like this way, amorphous matrix. Nucleolar associated chromatin. So it's also going to have some amount of, chromatin ka part. It will have fibrils and granules. So you can see the diagram over here. This is the cell, right? The cell is going to have this nucleus. You can see the nucleus, which is large enough. And inside the nucleus, this is going to be the nucleolus. So look over here. This is going to be the nucleolus. Okay? Well, now we come to the chromatin material. The interphase nucleus has a loose and indistinct work of nucleoprotein fibers called as chromatin. So this chromatin, when it undergoes condensation, undergoes condensation, I had told you when I had taught you all cell division. What is condensation? Can anyone tell me what is condensation over here? The word meaning condensation. Condense होना मतलब क्या होना?
Turning into small water droplets. The literal turning into small water droplets, but in this case, the chromatin fibers turn into X-shaped chromosomes due to
Here, it's like condensed milk. You know what is condensed milk ना? जो अपना normal milk होता है, उसको आप चलाते रहिए, उसकी बासुंदी बनाते जाइए, तो क्या हो जाएगा? वो thick हो जाएगा. वो thick क्यों हो रहा है बेटा? Because the water molecules are getting removed. गाढ़ा होना, एग्जैक्टली. तो ये जो कंडेंसेशन वर्ड है ना, ये बहुत डाइसी हो जाता है. कंडेंसेशन मीन्स इवन यू नो दैट अपना वाटर का वेपराइजेशन जो होता है, कंडेंसेशन होता है, इवन दैट इज कंडेंसेशन. दैट इज गोइंग टू एक्चुअली मेक वाटर मॉलिक्यूल्स. बट हियर कंडेंस होना मतलब गाढ़ा होना, थिक होना. Okay, so when the chromatin will get condensed, that means it will become thicker. Now that chromatin would be called as chromosome. So during the interphase, there is chromatin, that is threads can be seen. Literally threads दिखाई देते हैं, है ना? तो ये जो threads है, उसको हम क्या कहते हैं बेटा? We call it as chromatin. Now chromatin contains DNA and some basic proteins like histones, some non-histone proteins, and it is also going to have RNA present in it. तो ये जो chromatin है, ये 3-4 चीजों से बना हुआ है. उसमें ना सिर्फ डीएनए है, बट along with DNA, it is also going to have some proteins, some non-proteinaceous units, some RNA. ऐसे सब मिलाकर ये chromatin बनता है. Fine. When stained with fusion stain, this fusion stain is important. We have to remember that chromatin can be stained by the fusion stain. I had told you all for mitochondria. If you remember, mitochondria can be stained by which dye? उसका नाम याद है आपको?
Sudan.
Yes.
It's not Sudan. What is it?
Genus.
Janus Green. Janus Green, JNUS, Janus Green. So you have to be specifically knowing this. So जैसे वो था ना वैसे ही chromatin को stain करने के लिए you require a stain called as the Fulgen stain. Okay, so this Fulgen stain will give a deep coloration. It will give a deep coloration. Now please focus on the diagram that is there in front of you all. It's one of the most crucial diagrams which will actually help you all to understand even next year ka content. Please pay attention to this. Yeah. Here you can see this is the DNA. Okay. What is DNA made up of? Can anyone tell me what is DNA made up of? DNA किसका बना होता है? कौन सी तीन चीजें होती है DNA में?
Phosphate group, sugar group, and bond, nitrogenous base.
Yes, very good, my dear. So you have got at the center. Now understand the structure of DNA. Of course, biomolecules chapter में ये बहुत डिटेल में हम कराते हैं, but still देखिए, imagine कीजिए कि this is going to be your pentose sugar. Pentose sugar means 5 carbon containing sugar. उसको हम क्या कहते हैं बेटा? Pentose sugar. So imagine this is your pentose sugar. Okay, this pentose sugar will have at one point attachment of nitrogen base, and on the other side it will have an attachment of phosphate. Okay, so ये pentose sugar plus nitrogen base plus phosphate, ये तीनों को मिलकर हम कहते हैं न्यूक्लियोटाइड. What is that? न्यूक्लियोटाइड. T, not nucleoside. न्यूक्लियोसाइड एंड न्यूक्लियोटाइड में एक ही फर्क है. न्यूक्लियोसाइड में फॉस्फेट नहीं रहेगा, न्यूक्लियोटाइड में फॉस्फेट रहेगा. So nucleoside will have pentose sugar and nitrogen base, and nucleotide में pentose sugar, nitrogen base, phosphate group. Okay, तो ये एक न्यूक्लियोटाइड हुआ. ठीक है. Now when there will be many nucleotides का long लंबा chain connected with each other, we call that structure as your DNA molecule. So what is DNA molecule made up of? DNA molecule is made up of nucleotides. What is nucleotide made up of? Nucleotide is made up of pentose sugar, nitrogen base and phosphate. इधर तो कुछ समझ में आ गई बात? कोई डाउट है बेटा इसमें? So DNA is made up of what? Nucleotide. Nucleotide is made up of what? Sugar, nitrogen base, phosphate. Is it fine? एक लंबी चौड़ी चेन है ये न्यूक्लियोटाइड्स की, which is now what we called as your DNA molecule. Now here you can see in the diagram there is going to be this DNA molecule. Okay, ये देख ये देख ये पूरा DNA molecule है. This is the double helix. ये देख ये इधर तक लंबा है. Now what happens, let me tell you एक fact. क्या फैक्ट है पता है आपको कि हमारे एक सेल में एक न्यूक्लियस है. इन आवर सेल one cell, one nucleus. In one nucleus we have got 2.2 meters of DNA present. How much? 2.2 meters. हमारी जो साड़ी होती है ना, जो हम लोग साड़ी पहनते हैं, it is 5 meters. और जो हम दुपट्टा लेते हैं ना, आजकल कोई दुपट्टा लेता नहीं है, बट दुपट्टा का साइज इज अराउंड 2.2 meters. So imagine in one cell we have got one nucleus, and inside one nucleus we have got 2.2 meters of DNA.
Ma'am, it's cold.
I know, but still
That's why
look at the length.
It's just like intestine, super cold. That's why it's fit in that.
But look at the extent of coiling, my dear. It's so much. Because to fit 2.2 into cell ka nucleus, we saw the nucleus ka size. It's hardly 3 nanometers to 25. है ना, इतना छोटा, और उसमें हमें 2.2 meters को fit कराना है. So definitely it has to undergo a super coiling. है ना?
Yes, ma'am.
Correct. It is believed. I mean, it's a very theoretical statement to be, actually going ahead with, that it is believed that one single human being का, okay, अगर सारा DNA extract किया गया, we are multicellular organisms, like.
Yes, ma'am.
So from each and every cell, if the DNA is extracted and we make a long thread, that thread would coil around the earth twice, is what has been assumed. So much of DNA is present in all of us. It's just as I said, it's a theoretical thing. It's based on mathematical calculations, nothing else. Okay. So anyways, So this 2.2 meters are now this thread that you can see this DNA. It is 2.2 meters. Now it's very difficult to fit this 2.2 meters in our small nucleus का space, है ना? So what happens? It will undergo supercoiling. So
Ma'am,
where? हाँ.
actually you were telling the fact, if it is and my internet connection is very bad. So what would it actually cover? I
The
lost
entire Earth twice.
what? Okay.
It will go around the entire Earth twice, is what they say. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
So now what has happened? See, for the coiling, they require something as a base on which it can coil. Okay. It requires something na, on which it can coil. So this on which it is going to coil is going to be called as your histone protein. What are they called as? Histone protein. So that is what they are saying, that chromatin will contain histone protein. So what are these histone proteins? Okay. Histone proteins ना, they are total 8 in number. कितने होते हैं? 8 हिस्टोन प्रोटीन्स होते हैं. 8 मतलब टाइप्स 4 ही है, हर एक का डबल. सो इट्स कॉल्ड एज H1 के 2, H2A, H2B वैसे 2, H3 के 2, H4 के 2. दिस इज व्हाट हाउ दे मेक अप दैट 8 प्रोटीन्स का गोला. सो जस्ट इमेजिन आपने छोटे छोटे बीड्स लिए हैं, ओके, या फिर 8 मार्बल्स लिए आपने, 8 मार्बल्स, एंड 8 मार्बल्स को आपने स्टिक करके एक गोला बनाया. ठीक है, 8 मार्बल्स को स्टिक करके आपने एक गोला बनाया. तो वैसे ये हिस्टोन प्रोटीन्स के ना ऐसे ऑक्टामर्स बनते हैं. क्या कहते हैं हम उसको? ऑक्टामर. ऑक्टा मीन्स 8. ओके, यूनिट्स ऑफ 8 हिस्टोन्स आर क्लब्ड टुगेदर, जॉइंट टुगेदर. ओके, और इसके ऊपर दिस डीएनए इज बाउंड 1 and 3/4. कितना रहता है वो सर्कल? एक पूरा सर्कल लेता है और दूसरा 3/4 लेता है. सो 1 and 3/4 कॉइलिंग होता है उस हिस्टोन ऑक्टामर के ऊपर. ओके, again I'm telling you all, see, histones are small proteins which are going to be of 4 different types, doublets में. तो हर एक के 2-2. ओके, तो ये ऐसे 8 हिस्टोन प्रोटीन्स इकट्ठा आते हैं. They form a small ball, the ones which you can see over here. So you can see this, ये दिखाई दे रहे हैं 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. These are the histones. See, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. You can see, है ना? Yeah. So ये histone proteins इकट्ठा आ गए. They came together and they formed such type of, structures. Okay. Now on this the DNA will coil how many times? It will take one full round and other will be 3/4. So we say it takes a turn of 1 and 3/4 round. So you look at the distances, it's almost equidistant. 1 full and 3/4, 1 full and 3/4, 1 full and 3/4. समझ में आ गई बात? Okay, so in this way they'll keep on coiling. Fine. So compaction हो गया. Now further look over here. They coil on themselves. अच्छा, जब ये coil होते हैं ना, we call them as beads on string. What we call them as? Beads समझते हो ना? जो मोती की माला पहनते हैं लोग, वो मोती की जो माला होते हैं वो beads है ना? तो वो ऐसे एक string के ऊपर beads लगे हैं, ऐसे लगता है. Just like you can see these black and golden color के beads है. They are on the gold का thread. So we call it as beads on string. So it appears under the microscope something like this way. Okay. So we call it as beads on string appearance. Okay. Wound on the nucleosomes. Now what are nucleosomes? Nucleosomes are the octamer plus DNA is called as a nucleosome. Okay. Now these beads on strings will coil. वो अपने ऊपर ही ऊपर अपने आप coil होते जाएंगे. अभी आपको मुझे पता नहीं, आई एम रियली नॉट श्योर. आजकल मोबाइल का जमाना है, बट ड्यूरिंग आवर टाइम्स ना वी हैड दोस phones at home which were having coils. देखा है आपने वो coil वाला फोन? ऐसा ब्लैक कलर का coil हुआ करता था, रिसीवर और
लैंडलाइन फोन.
Ma'am, landline.
हाँ, लैंडलाइन वाला. लेकिन आजकल कौन यूज करता है लैंडलाइन?
Ma'am, we have it at home still.
You
That's
have
the
it?
best medium.
ग्रेट.
मोबाइल का एक बार नेटवर्क नहीं मिलेगा, लैंडलाइन का बराबर पकड़ते हैं.
अरे हाँ, वो बराबर, लेकिन लैंडलाइन वाला भी आजकल कोई यूज ही नहीं करते. मेरे घर पे तो कुछ लैंडलाइन का चीज ही नहीं है. ऑल ऑफ अस इंडिविजुअली हैव गॉट 2 नंबर्स. मोबाइल 2 है, 2 नंबर्स है, तो लैंडलाइन का कुछ सवाल ही नहीं है. बट लैंडलाइन हुआ करता है ऑफ कोर्स. तो उसका वो जो कॉइल होता है ना, कैसे होता है, वो अपने आप में कॉइल होता जाता है, राइट? वो कॉइलिंग जो है ना, दैट इज गोइंग टू बी योर क्रोमैटिन फाइबर, व्हाट वी कॉल इट एज क्रोमैटिन फाइबर। तो क्रोमैटिन फाइबर होने के लिए जो कॉइलिंग है, वो कॉइलिंग कराने के लिए along with the histone proteins is also is going to require non-histone proteins. So that is why we said that the chromatin will have DNA, it will have histone proteins, it will have non-histone proteins also. So you can see that because it's going to coil like this way, spring ke jaise, it's going to be even the non-histone proteins which will be involved. Now further what will happen now, further uh, even like this landline wala jo use karte, you might be knowing this, it gets entangled kabhi kabhi, you try to pull it and the base also comes out. When you want to
Yeah.
take the receiver out ना, वो base भी निकल आता है, वो ऐसा एक दूसरे में ऐसा गुत्था बन जाता है पूरा. So that is called as your super coiling. So your is called as your super solenoid, which is not a part of your syllabus in 11th standard, but still. So this thing that you can see ना is the super solenoid. ये और ज्यादा coiling हो गया अपने आप पे. And finally, when it coils to the fullest, it forms your chromosome. Okay, so this is going to be your chromosome. So chromosome, when opened, you get super solenoid. When you rewind the super solenoid, you get the chromatin fiber. When you rewind the chromatin fiber, you get beads-like appearance, beads on string-like appearance. When you open the beads on string-like appearance further, usko rewind karte ho, so you get nucleosomes, that is histones plus 1 and 3/4 DNA. And when you reopen them or recoil them, that time you can separate the histones and get only the DNA molecule. Is it fine? What is the difference between DNA, chromatin, and chromosome? Is anyone having any difficulty in their mind? What is chromatin, what is chromosome, and what is DNA? Many students get confused. They feel that DNA and chromosome is the same. It's not the same. Chromosome will have DNA in it, but chromosome and DNA are not the same. Chromosome will have RNA also, it will have histones also, it will have non-histones also, right? Along with that, it will not have any water. Water will be present in chromatin, which will eventually undergo condensation during your prophase. You remember about your prophase, metaphase, everything. So by the end of the prophase, the water will get completely eradicated, making the chromatin to become chromosomes. Is it fine? Yes?
Um,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I got like two doubts.
Hmm.
One, this histone that we were just talking about, they are eight in number, like eight beads, types of chromosomes you mean.
Hmm.
So here in the diagram we can see that there are four beads
Hmm.
given, like four different stones given. So
So you got disconnected, I guess.
those four type of stones are.
Same, beta. Just like here they are showing the actual image, how they look like under the microscope. This is the ultra microscopy. Further, अगर हम इसको open करते हैं ना, तो ये वाला दिखेगा. Nothing else. It's the same. It's the same.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay.
And the second question was that we need like super coiling for the DNA in small nucleus. So why non-histones need to be there?
Non-histone proteins means there are some other proteins which are going to help in this coiling. They are not the group of histones. So when you will learn biomolecules, to know that why are histone proteins specific. See, every protein have got a combination of amino acids, and they may be acidic, they may be basic, or they may be neutral, they may be aromatic, they may be aliphatic. So there are different groups of proteins which are going to be present. So histones belong to a different group, and these are going to be non-histone proteins, which are all different types of proteins which come together for compaction. So along with histone, you also require non-histone for compaction. Fine, got it? Yeah. Any confusion in this particular chromatin wala part? Anyone who is having any difficulty?
No, ma'am.
Sure. It's clear to all of you all. Sure. Achhi baat. Okay. Now this is again something very crucial, that is what is heterochromatin and what is euchromatin. We have to understand that. See, the two types of chromatin material have been recognized. The first is called as heterochromatin and the second one is called as euchromatin. Now what is this heterochromatin and what is this euchromatin? Heterochromatin is the one which is darkly stained. So see, the darkly stained condensed region of the chromatin is known as heterochromatin. It is supposed to be metabolically and genetically inert. Metabolically and genetically inert का मतलब है it will not help in RNA synthesis, that is mRNA बनाने के लिए ये काम का नहीं है. ठीक है? So it is metabolically and genetically inert because it contains comparatively small amount of DNA but large amount of RNA. तो इसमें डीएनए ही कम है. अगर डीएनए कम है तो जेनेटिकली या मेटाबॉलिकली उसका कुछ काम है ही नहीं, है ना. So this heterochromatin is going to be predominantly made up of RNA. For compaction purpose, of course, that RNA had come on, and along with that, they have some amount of DNA, little amount of DNA. So this is inactive. Heterochromatin is inactive. And how does it look under the microscope? It looks darkly stained. बहुत deep coloration लेता है ये. Fine. On the other hand, euchromatin is light stained and diffused region of chromatin, which is called as euchromatin. It is comparatively larger amount of DNA. So इसमें DNA ज़्यादा है. Definitely when DNA is more, this region is going to be genetically active region. Genetically active means it can be copied by the mRNA. Okay, that is called as genetically active. Okay, chromatin is made up of small repeating units of nucleosome, which we saw. Look in the diagram. Look at this heterochromatin. It's compact, है ना? And this is euchromatin. Look at the amount of DNA present over here. It's लंबा 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 लंबा. यहाँ पर देखो, ये देखो कितना गैप क्लियरली दिखाई दे रहा है. तो इधर है ना mRNA आके ये सारा इंफॉर्मेशन चुरा के लेके जा सकता है. Okay, so the ones which is going to be genetically active means which can be used by the mRNA to make a copy of this particular DNA segment. Okay, that is called as transcription, which will be doing it in the molecular genetics part. Fine. So euchromatin is lightly stained, heterochromatin is darkly stained. Euchromatin is active genetically, heterochromatin is inert or inactive genetically. Euchromatin is going to be helpful in making mRNA. Heterochromatin is not exposed for making any mRNA. Is it fine? So these are the differences between heterochromatin and euchromatin.
Ma'am,
Huh.
ma'am, so like right now I was thinking that the DNA is so cold, and the DNA actually contains the features like our body features and everything. It's actually the DNA which is responsible for all that. So during DNA fingerprinting or anything related to DNA where we have to scan it and all, they actually uncode and then they scan, or what do they do while checking the chromosome number and all?
It's not scanning. It's a complete different process which we'll be doing it in biotech.
Wow.
I'll be teaching you how DNA fingerprinting is done. Don't worry. The entire process I'll be explaining it to you. Okay?
Wow, ma'am. Thank you so much.
It's there in our syllabus. Okay, what you want, beta? Parnavi, what you name? Shravani, can you please name the types of stone proteins? Yeah, just write down. It's H2A. H लिखिए, 2 नीचे लिखना, capital A. H2A, H2B, H3 and H4. इसके दो दो होते हैं to make it 8. So H2A, H2B, H3, H4 whole bracket multiplied by 2. Okay, that is what your histone proteins का octamer is made up of. And you have got H1 protein also, but that H1 protein is not a part of octamer. What it is going to be, it's going to act like your knot. So when you make a garland, या फिर when you want to, sieve something, that time you make a knot at the end of the thread. है ना? So in the same way, this H1 is going to make a knot, which is not a part of your octamer. So octamer is H2A के दो, H2B के दो, H3 के दो, H4 के दो. So just remember the octamer ka content. Okay, H2A, H2B, H3, H4. Fine. Yeah. What is your doubt, beta? Heterochromatin is black here and euchromatin is blue. No, 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 no. Both are black only. But here you cannot see. See, if I show you this particular one, I'll show. See, here if you see, this black color is very compact. It's very, very close together. Hai na? On the other hand, if you look at this one, it's going to be very far. So both are, this blue color is the histone protein, beta. The blue color is going to be the histone protein, and this black will be the chromatin material. But here it is very compact, right? Therefore it is inert. Here it is very loose. Okay, got it? So heterochromatin, euchromatin, both are represented as black only, but the blue one is the histone protein. Okay, fine. So any confusion over here now? Anyone who has not followed anything? Anyone who wants me to repeat anything?
Yes, ma'am. I was disconnected 5 minutes ago. When you
5 minutes
said that.
ago, oh my god, do something with your net connection. Every time this is a problem with you, my dear.
No, you were saying that why heterochromatin is darker and euchromatin is lighter.
Nothing. I just said that heterochromatin is this one, which is both are represented as black only. Chromatin is represented as black. The blue one is going to be the histone. And these black ones are very compactly arranged, while these black ones are loosely arranged. So where it's going to be loosely arranged, it's going to be active. When it is compactly arranged, it's going to be inert. Okay?
Okay, ma'am.
Got it?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Sorry, ma'am.
Anyone having any difficulties in their mind about what is chromatin, what is chromosome, what is DNA, what is heterochromatin, what is euchromatin? As I said, this is going to be the base of your 40 marks of genetics next year. No doubts? Okay. A single human cell approximately 2 meters long. It's, to be very precise, 2.2. 2 meters long. It's going to be a thread of DNA distributed among its 46 chromosomes. So this 2.2 meters of DNA is into pieces. Okay. How many pieces are there? 46 pieces are there. That is 23 pairs, as we say. Every chromosome essentially has a primary constriction, which is called as a centromere, which is present on the at the generally, at any of the points in between the chromosome. It will be having a, a side में उसके बाजू में it will be having a disc shaped structures called as kinetochores. So we already know what are kinetochores. In cell division we have studied about it, right? What is kinetochores? So here also is going to have the same thing, same structure over here. So based on the position of the centromere, the chromosomes are classified into 4 different types. The first type is going to be called as the metacentric chromosome. Meta means center. So when the centromere is exactly at the center, we call it as metacentric chromosome. Okay. Submetacentric means it's going to be little away from the center. तो अगर ये मेटासेंट्रिक क्रोमोसोम में इधर सेंटर में सेंट्रोमियर है, तो सब मेटासेंट्रिक में ये थोड़ा सा ऊपर की तरफ रहेगा. Not too much, a little bit. That is submetacentric. So here what will happen, see, the submetacentric chromosome has centromere nearer to one end of the chromosomes, and therefore it will have one long arm and one short arm. Okay, तो एक लंबा आर्म हो जाएगा, एक छोटा बन जाएगा, depending upon the position of the centromere. In case of acrocentric, it's going to be all the more further from the center. So one arm will be very long and other arm will be very short. Okay. So in case of acrocentric chromosome, the centromere is situated close to its end, forming extremely short and extremely long arms of that particular chromosome. Telocentric, telocentric में है ना, it appears like your small eye. मतलब कैपिटल आई हम लोग ऐसे निकालते हैं और स्मॉल आई हम लोग कैसे निकालते हैं, एक लाइन और उसके ऊपर एक डॉट डाल देते हैं, है ना. इट लुक्स लाइक दैट वे. दैट इज द टेलोसेंट्रिक वन. सो टेलोसेंट्रिक क्रोमोसोम हैज अ terminal centromere. So sometimes like these are the four types. Which are the four types? Metacentric at the center, submetacentric little bit away from the center, acrocentric more towards the pole, and telocentric terminal. The centromere is going to be at the terminal end. So these are the four types. Okay. Now let me tell you, I'll not talk about the satellite wala part. I'll just tell you this one. See, this is going to be your metacentric. You can see it's exactly at the center. Okay. This is submetacentric. It is away from the center. These are almost equal to arms. These are almost equal to arms. Here you see one longer, one shorter. Look at the acrocentric is almost towards the ends, right? Making very short and very long. Okay. And telocentric, you can see it's at the terminal end. Fine. So where is the centromere is something which will decide the shape of the chromosomes while cell division is taking place. So imagine now this this is like this way. So we have to imagine at metaphase it's going to be like this way. We have already done cell cycle, so we know. अभी डायग्राम दिखाने के लिए मैंने ऐसे दिखाया है, लेकिन ये जब मेटाफेज में चले जाएंगे तो ये कैसे हो जाएंगे? They'll sleep ना, and then they'll be pulled. Correct? So when they get pulled, imagine what shape will they form? What shape will they form? See, ये जो shape है, कौन सा shape बनाएगा ये? V shape. Yes, yes. So we also say metacentric chromosome to be V-shaped chromosome. This has not been mentioned. Kindly make a note of these things, that metacentric chromosome may also be called as V-shaped chromosome. Fine. Similarly, submetacentric का जब pulling होता है ना, submetacentric का जब pulling होता है ना, तो एक छोटा है, एक लंबा है, तो they will appear like L-shaped chromosome. What will they appear like? L shape. तो L कैसे दिखेगा? L आप ड्रॉ करते हो कैपिटल L, तो आप एक लंबा स्ट्रेट लाइन निकालते हो और छोटा दूसरा लाइन निकालते हो. स्लीपिंग लाइन आपका छोटा होता है. Something like that. And therefore the submetacentric would be called as L shape. Okay. Acrocentric chromosome जो होता है, it will appear like a J shape. J shape. J कौन सा वाला J? Small j.
Small j, the dot and the long.
हाँ, a dot and this ऐसा umbrella का जो holder होता है उसके जैसा J shape. Okay, and telocentric chromosome is called as I shape. So V shape, L shape, J shape, and I shape. These are the four different names for these four different types of chromosomes, depending upon the centromere ka position. So any confusions in this? Anyone who has not understood this?
Ma'am?
बोलो बोलो. I can't hear you.
Understanding that why they are being given these names.
Why? Because depending on the centromere
yes,
position,
now we are understanding that.
We have to classify them, na? Yes. Now you understood them, right? Yeah. Now you can see over here, these are the primary constrictions called as the centromere. Okay. We call them as primary constrictions. Sometimes what happens is, along with the primary constrictions, they may also have, where am I? Along with the primary constrictions, they may also have a secondary constriction. Okay. Sometimes, okay, just see the way I'm drawing this, they may have a secondary constriction. So you can see over here, this is a secondary constriction. You know what is a secondary constriction, na? Just primary constriction के जैसा ही, लेकिन ये secondary constrictions बन गए. तो ये जो कभी-कभी secondary constrictions जो बन जाते हैं ना, किसी के भी ऊपर बनेंगे, हाँ, सिर्फ metacentric के ऊपर बनेंगे ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. It could be on any. So there is a chance, there is a probability that this secondary constrictions could be made. Okay, and if a chromosome will have these type of secondary constrictions, we call them as satellites. What we call them as? Satellites. So see, this is the last point that we have to discuss actually. That is what sometimes a few chromosomes have non-staining secondary constrictions at a constant position or a location or a loci as we call it. This gives the appearance of a small fragment called as satellite. तो इसीलिए मैंने ये जो डायग्राम ड्रॉ किया है ये सैटेलाइट कहलाता है. दिस पर्टिकुलर वन इज द सैटेलाइट एंड दिस इज द सेकेंडरी कंस्ट्रक्शन. Okay, so what is a satellite over here, beta? Satellite is going to be a small protrusion that has been caused due to the secondary construction, which is not a normal feature, but it may be seen in certain species. Human beings do have chromosome में ऐसे secondary constructions है. Okay. Well, so have you all followed this till now? Any difficulty, any doubts in this? No confusion, no doubts? With this, we complete the chapter of cell unit of life. Khatam ho gaya. Okay? Come on. Any problem in the entire chapter? It's a long chapter and it's an important chapter. So I want all of you all to be very thorough with this. Anyone who is having any difficulty in this, beta? Nahi, lecture khatam nahi. I'm starting with the new chapter. I'm starting with the new chapter. We have got almost half an hour na in hand. Yeah, almost
20
half an
minutes.
almost 20-25 minutes. I'm just going ahead with a new chapter. Okay, but इसमें कोई doubt है तो बोलो मुझे. Come on, tell me. If you have anything that you want me to explain again or tell you all again, please do let me know. क्यों छोड़ दो बाबा? Why? छोड़ना क्यों है? छोड़ना नहीं है. छोड़ के क्या करोगे? टाइम पास ही तो करोगे. हाँ? You will do time pass only. What else you will do? हाँ बोलो.
Do you mind explaining the diagram of the centrosome?
सेंट्रोजोम का डायग्राम नहीं होता है. सेंट्रियोल का डायग्राम होता है.
Yeah,
Okay?
centriole. Yeah.
Centriole का डायग्राम is 9
I
plus
wanted
0.
to say centriole. Sorry, ma'am.
Yeah. It's going to be 9 plus 0. So there will be 9 at the periphery and nothing at the center. So we call it as 9 plus 0. So we have got a triplet structure at the periphery and nothing at the center. Okay. That is going
Yes, ma'am.
to be the centriole ka diagram. Fine. It's one of the easier diagram than your cilia and flagella. Beta.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, okay, fine. Yeah. Now I'm going ahead with a new chapter. That's going to be something called as your, like ये general chapter और बहुत ही easy वाला chapter है. That's the first chapter of your, you know, NCRT. That is
Ma'am,
living world. Living world. Okay. So, yeah, someone is saying something.
botany or zoology? Like which book to write in?
Which book to write in? Actually, it you can write it down in botany, no problem.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Yeah. So this is the first chapter that we are going to go ahead with. That is going to be the living world. So here it's very easy, very easy, very easy chapter. What it is all about? It is nothing. It is about the living organisms that.
Ma'am, there's no screen sharing or something.
I'm trying to do that only. I don't know what's happening with that. It is
I
not
thought
getting.
you don't know, that's why.
No, I'm trying to do that only, but there is some issue that is coming and I'm not able to share the screen with you all. So I'm just trying to.
We have to write
That's
in
what-
11th book or 12th book, ma'am?
11 beta. It's a chapter of your 11th standard. It's a chapter
Okay.
of your 11th standard. Okay.
Chapter, ma'am.
First chapter, living organisms, living world. It's the first chapter of 11th standard. That is going to be the living world.
Ma'am, this question
Yeah.
actually is like a general question. Like that chapter of reproduction in organisms, that's 11th standard, 12th standard.
12th standard, but
11.
reproduction in organisms is a 12th standard chapter.
That's why I couldn't
Reproduction in
find it.
organisms, human reproduction, reproductive health. All three are going to be your 12th standard chapters. Okay.
Thank you, ma'am. That's why I couldn't find it in the NCERT.
Yeah, no problem, no problem. So those are going to be your 12th standard ke chapters. Breathing and exchange, as I said, initially it was in 11th standard. Now they have again promoted it to 12th standard. Okay. That is your this one government textbook, according to your government textbook. Okay. Okay. So yeah, I try to open it. What is about this living world now? What do you understand by this word living world? Okay. Now this living world is something which is associated with everything that is going to be whatever is living. Okay. Whatever is living is going to be coming under this particular living world. So what is going to be coming under this living world? So it could be your normal prokaryotic organism, or it could be your eukaryotic organism, or it could be your like single celled organism. It could be your multi-celled organism. It's of like anything could be there. Okay, so we're going to talk in general about the properties of living organisms in general now. So yeah, let me go ahead with this.
It's a very small chapter.
Yeah, it's a very small
And
and it's a
very
very easy chapter also. There's nothing much, but yes, you have to remember certain important facts of it. I could finally do it. Uh, I don't know what was going wrong with this. Yeah, so you can see very clearly uh, why this again presentation is not going ahead. Okay. Anyway, so we have to understand the characteristics of living organisms in this. We have to understand how different scientists have proposed this particular classification pattern of the living organisms. This is what is aimed at. And
ma'am.
here we have to understand. Yeah.
Ma'am, you can see down there is a percentage of zooming the screen.
There is
Beside
what?
it, there down in the
Uh,
presentation slide, you can see a number 70% the zoom wala thing here, right hand side corner.
uh,
Beside it, there is a present slideshow wala button. If you click that, it will directly go on
Array, it is
slideshow.
not coming. That's what it is not coming. I tried doing that. See, I tried doing that. So then I went over here.
Okay,
See,
ma'am.
I tried doing it. Anyway, I'll just do it again one more time. Yeah. So it's an easy chapter, but of course it's going to be very important for your exams. Now, let me tell you all one thing, beta. I know who is going to do that restart. Acha. See, what is the thing is, please note down this point in your mind very nicely. That is, this chapter ka naam in your government textbook is diversity in organisms. In your NCERT textbook, the chapter name is the living world. Okay, so it's going to be the living world according to NCERT, and according to your government textbook, it is going to be the living world, diversity. Okay, so please be very careful with this. Please be very careful with this. Okay, yeah. So what is the name in your government textbook? The name in your government textbook is the diversity in organisms, and according to your NCERT, it's going to be your living world. Well, yes, I'm again trying to open it. If it opens, it's good. If it doesn't, we'll have to wait. Some problem with it, I guess. I don't know. There's something which is getting hanged. Anyway, I'll go ahead with the chapter. No issues if it's not going to get, you know, open. We'll wait. Maybe it has got hanged. Anyway, so what is the thing about the living world over here? The very first thing is, what are the characteristics of living organisms? The first thing is who is living and who is not living. We have to understand between them. If I ask you if you all are living, obviously you all will be giving me the answer, yes, of course, ma'am, we all are living. But how are you going to prove that you're living? See, for science, now everything needs to be in a proof format. So how will you prove it? How will you prove it that you are living? Come on, tell
Metabolism.
me. Metabolism,
Every
okay.
organism who grows, reproduces,
Reproduction, okay. Then
growth.
growth,
After 5 months,
okay.
we look different. So of course, we are growing.
We are growing. We breathe, okay. Growth, repair, reproduce, okay. Respiration, very nice. Yeah. What else? What else? Come on, try proving yourselves that you all are living. Now, you should prove. I'm talking, I'm asking, so I'm to proving only that I'm living. Now, you all tell me.
All the body activities in a
Very
living.
nice, Shravani. Very nice. Yeah. Who else? Someone was saying something.
Ma'am, all the bodily activities, like all the systems in a
Hmm.
living organism will work as one.
Very
So
nice. Very nice. Okay, fine. Very nice. Yes. Because you're like typing. Okay, nice. Finally, I got your answer. Very nice. It's nice one. Actually, it's a proof, of course. Okay, fine. So yeah. Movement, locomotion. Very good, beta. So when I talk about this particular phenomena, na, when I ask that whether you're living, you all are going to give me different types of answers. So of course that will segregate between living and non-living things, right? But when I ask you, now look at my question. Now this question is very specific. Okay, try to answer this. Okay. Yes, I understood that we all are living. We all are interacting. We all are living. Now tell me, especially someone told that we are going to look Komal, I think. So you only answer this
Yes,
question that
ma'am.
because we are going to look different after 5 months from today, we are growing. Excellent. But now tell me one thing. Can growth, look at the question and tell me, I mean, it's for all of you all. Can growth be considered as an exclusive property of living? What do you mean by exclusive property? That means ये growth हो रहा है मतलब ये जिंदा है, ऐसा बोल सकते हैं क्या हम?
no, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
Why
Not
why
really,
why
ma'am.
why
Because
why
ma'am, at some point of time we all stop growing,
we
but we
all
still
stop
No,
exist.
ma'am.
growing?
No.
No, ma'am.
It is an exclusive property because we all grow our hairs, right? That's why we can speak that we are all are living.
Okay, we grow hair, so okay fine, चलो. What else? Come on, किसी का no answer है क्या इसके लिए कि no we cannot consider growth as an exclusive property of living, ऐसा कोई बोल
Yeah,
सकता है
you
क्या?
can't, ma'am. We can't say it as an exclusive property. It depends on a number of factors.
Number of factors, okay. So can anyone still go ahead with this justification? कोई और मुझे कुछ इसके बारे में help करेगा क्या to know whatever I'm discussing? कि ये सही है ये गलत है, मतलब if I say that now I am saying this sentence, you all tell me whether I'm true, whether I'm right or I'm wrong. Okay, I'm asking you that if this is true or if this is false. Fine. I am saying growth cannot be considered as an exclusive property of living beings. Rather, it's one of the properties of living beings. Is this a
Yes,
correct
ma'am.
statement or is it a wrong statement?
Correct statement, ma'am.
Correct.
Correct.
Correct statement, true.
Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
fine. But why is it true? Why it cannot be considered as exclusive property of living organisms?
Because, ma'am,
Because even non-living organisms show growth because in form of accumulation.
Excellent, perfect. Because when I say growth, what do you mean by growth? How you will define growth? Increase in the like the definition begins with the word increase. So increase in size, increase in volume, increase in mass, right? All these are going to increase. Now increase in size, increase in volume, increase in mass is also seen in non-living objects.
of course,
For
ma'am, we stretch
example,
rubber. We stretch
yeah,
rubber. Rubber is growing, rubber is living. We can't say that.
yeah, exactly. In the same way, na, if you look at the rainfall, okay, during summers, the volume of water in the lakes is quite low. After rainfall, the volume has increased. But we cannot say that lake is living. Okay, or you take the sand dunes. You have seen the sand dunes if
Yes,
you have
ma'am.
been to Rajasthan, Jaisalmer, and all na. Yeah, if you have gone to Dubai, दुबई में भी अगर डेजर्ट सफारी करके होता है, अगर वो लिया है तो आपको बहुत सारे सैंड ड्यून्स देखने के लिए मिलेंगे. एनीवेज, so वो जो सैंड ड्यून्स होते हैं ना, even they are like that only. All of a sudden they will grow, they'll pile up to a very tall content, and all of a sudden they'll, you know, like if a wind blows tremendously, all the sand dunes are going to get collapsed. So there is going to be, you know, growth taking place of sand dunes, growth taking place of ice caps. Even ice caps grow in size, you know, na? The ice caps are also going to increase. So we cannot call growth to be the exclusive property of, you know, living organisms. Yeah, it is one of the properties. One of the properties का मतलब क्या हो जाता है ना? What do you mean over here by one of the properties?
There are more properties, but it can't be called as the only property.
Very nice, my dear. Perfect. Very good. Exactly. So it is one of the properties. So if that person is living, it is going to grow. अब grow मतलब क्या? To increase in size and weight मतलब growth सिर्फ नहीं होता है, हाँ. At your age होता है. At your age it is right. You will grow taller, especially boys, है ना? At this age now, all my dear boys are growing. Even girls are growing, don't worry. But evidently जो दिखाई देते हैं ना, मतलब like 8 9 10 तक बच्चे अलग दिखते हैं, and 11 12th में जैसे ही जाते हैं ना, like I had, you know, like this experience, because always I see generally 9 10th के बच्चे मेरे साथ interact करते रहते हैं, and then they all of a sudden when they come into 12th standard ना, they all of a sudden become so you know manly like बन जाते हैं, जो kids के जैसे दिखने वाले बच्चे होते हैं अपने. So वो ग्रोथ आपके एज में सही है, बट यू माइट से एट माय एज ग्रोथ, I am not going to grow taller now. I may become obese, I may shrink, that's a different story, but of course I'm not going to grow taller now. So we feel that the growth has stunted, but it's not like that way. Okay, the growth internally takes place. Growth takes place internally का मतलब क्या होता है बेटा? That the cells are getting replenished.
Division.
Yeah, new cells are being formed. And as rightly said by Shreyas, right? Shreyas had told this, that हमारे hair growth होता है, nail growth होता है ना? That's
If
a
we get
continuous
a
process.
wound, repair,
Yes,
like
repair, yeah, very good. Repair systems अपने work होते रहते हैं. So that type of growth is seen. But then to classify this, we have got two types of growth, right? One is internal growth, one is external growth. Internal growth, the one which is taking place from within, and external growth is going to be due to the accumulation of materials from above, है ना? So can you tell me an example of external growth now? I told you all sand dunes, है ना? I told you all ice caps, I told you all water का level, ये मैंने बताया है आपको. तो एक मुझे बताना, मतलब पता करना है, ग्रोथ ऑफ नेल्स एंड ग्रोथ ऑफ हेयर एक्सटर्नल ग्रोथ है कि इंटरनल ग्रोथ है?
External.
I guess internal, because they grow from inside, then they come outside. So first inside, so
Okay.
internal.
Okay, who else is with external, who else is with internal? Come on. Both. External, external, external. Okay, 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 fine.
External.
External. Okay, fine. See, it looks external. Okay. देखिए girls, especially this goes for you all. Okay. We apply color to our nails. Nail paint लगाते
But
हैं हम
then
लोग,
we see a nail coming from down.
है ना? That time देखिए कलर ऊपर का इंटैक्ट रहता है. From this particular point, ये base से the nail is growing. So it is growing from the internal area. So it's going to be an example of internal growth, though it seems to be external. Even our hair, we feel hair has become longer. बाहर से hair चिपक चिपक के लंबा नहीं होता है, right?
It comes
The
from the root.
pores, yeah, the roots and the pores are present inside, and from there the hair growth is taking place. In our case now, you know, like even you might see this in your parents. If there is graying of hair, if the hair has turned out to
It's
be
from the
gray,
scalp.
so when we apply hair color to it now, then again after 6 months, 3 months, why even 6 months? After 3 months, you can again see the scalp getting white. That is because the growth is internal. So please, my dears, nail ka growth, hair ka growth is internal, not external. External is because of accumulation. So sand का accumulation हुआ, snow का accumulation हुआ, water का accumulation हुआ, then we call it as external growth. So please understand this. Non-living objects grow by accumulation, that is external growth is seen in non-living objects, and living organisms grow by internal growth. So growth is of two types, external and internal. External is associated with non-living, internal is associated with living. Did you all understand this, my dears? Got the
Yes, ma'am.
yeah, so the true sense समझ में आ गया इसका क्या कहना है हमें? Yes, so this is what is about the first characteristic of living organisms. Okay, total we have got 4 characteristics. So उसमें से एक हमने देख ली, that is the growth, right? Now this growth, as we said, is not an exclusive property of living, but it is one of the characteristics of living organisms. Correct? In the same way, can you all tell me with reproduction? Is reproduction going to be an exclusive property of living organisms, or is it going to be again
It
one
is
of the properties?
exclusive.
Exclusive, ma'am.
Exclusive.
Exclusive means मेरा कहना
Exclusive,
क्या
ma'am.
है कि because this person is reproducing, it is living, or because this organism is reproducing, it is living. Is it like that way? I mean, is it
Yeah,
exclusive?
ma'am, it is that way.
No, ma'am.
No.
No.
Yes. Come on. One more time. Just give a thought to it. When I say exclusive का मतलब क्या है? क्या हो रहा है? ये organism ये कर रहा है इसलिए वो living है. ऐसा है क्या? Because this person is capable of reproduction, because this person is reproducing, because this person has reproduced, it is living. Is it like that way?
No, ma'am.
Very good, Vibha. Very nice, Vibha.
Ma'am, I
Very good
think
answer.
it's not, but I don't know the explanation. Like, I can't give a
Yeah,
reason.
ma'am, it
So,
is like that.
Very good, Shravani. Exactly. That is what I'm trying to tell you. That when we talk about reproduction, as I said just now, again, it is not going to be an exclusive property of living organisms, beta, because there are so many examples in animal world also who are, like not capable of reproducing. They are sterile. They are sterile. Okay. And yet they are living now. Arey, why like that? When you take the
sorry.
example of human couples, there are so many human couples who don't want to have children. Matlab, they don't have any deformity, maybe they don't have any complexity, but they don't want to have children. It's their wish, it's their like decision. But does that mean because they are not going to reproduce, they are going to die? Yeah, they are
Ma'am.
dead. We cannot call them like that way.
Oh, ma'am.
Right? So again, here when I say that reproduction is going to be one of the properties of living beings, yes. So if the person is living, if the organism is living, it might have the capacity, or it, like reproduction is a part of his living system, that we can say, right? Yeah, so here also, yes, very right, Shravani is saying that only, that sterile beings are also there. Exactly. Yes, even there are certain women, yeah, who cannot reproduce. We have seen also, na? The disorders also we have seen, that what are the possibilities of not having children, of not conceiving. We have seen the different possibilities also. So same way, beta, even you can take the example of mule. You know what? Who's a mule? MULE. खच्चर कहते हैं उसको, खच्चर हिंदी में. Who's a mule? वो कोई तो एक, कौन सा मूवी था रे? हाँ, donkey and horse. Yes, it's artificial hybridization. Artificially बनाते हैं ये. Donkey plus
It is
horse का
also known as
combination.
honky.
Honky, yes.
Honky.
Very right. Honky.
Oh, honky is mule. Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know the
Now
other
they
name.
are sterile, बच्चा. ये जो mules होते हैं ना, they are sterile. They are not in the capacity to reproduce. But that
How?
doesn't mean they cannot reproduce, because their chromosome number is odd numbered. 33 chromosomes.
Oh,
So
okay.
you cannot have 33 ka 0.5 in the gametes. Get me? So they cannot reproduce. They are never capable of reproduction. उनमें possible नहीं होता है. ठीक है? तो वो reproduce तो नहीं कर सकते. वो sterile है. But they are living ना. They are living. Similarly, honeybees. We have got 3 types of honeybees. Right? Honeybees में 3 types होते हैं. Queen होती है. First one is the largest one, which is the queen. Second is going to be the worker honeybee, and third is going to be the drones. Now drones are fertile, queen is fertile, but the worker honeybees are sterile. They cannot reproduce. but still they are living, right? Human couples, they cannot reproduce, but still they are living. So reproduction cannot be taken as an exclusive or the defining property of living organisms. Okay, it is one of the characteristics of living organisms. So both the characteristic out of the four characteristics, the two characteristics that we studied, both, that is growth also and reproduction also, they are considered as what? One of the characteristics. It's not the exclusive characteristic or defining property of living organisms. Now reproduction we know is going to be of three different types: vegetative reproduction, asexual reproduction, sexual reproduction. These three though we have done in detail in reproduction in organism wala chapter. करेक्ट
Yes, ma'am.
हमने वेजिटेटिव के भी कितने सारे, मतलब रूट से वेजिटेटिव रिप्रोडक्शन होता है, स्टेम से होता है, लीफ से होता है, हमने देखा। एसेक्सुअल में भी हमने स्पोर्स के बारे में देखा। सो इनफैक्ट द टाइप्स ऑफ रिप्रोडक्शन तो हमने तीनों इन डिटेल देख लिए हैं। ऑफ कोर्स इट्स अ पार्ट अगेन रिपीटेड ओवर हियर आल्सो, फाइन, बट ऑफ कोर्स it's going to be different ways of reproduction, but still reproduction cannot be considered as an all and all defining property. Now, one last question before I end this session. One last question. Okay, I want you all to answer me. The unicellular bacteria or the unicellular organisms, do they grow or do they reproduce?
Ma'am, both.
Both?
I mean, their growth is
Reproduce, they
considered
reproduce.
as reproduction because since they divide into two
Divide,
parts,
exactly.
they that is happening because of reproduction. So that's
Okay.
why when they grow into two parts because of reproduction, then they grow and then they again reproduce. So
Very nice. You know,
Yeah,
like what
growing
is
is called mature, like they become mature to divide, so that division is called reproduction. So
okay,
that's like,
okay. Very nice, very nice. So, you know, like this is called as, you know, this particular thing is called as, you know, there's a word which is associated with this. It is called as growth and reproduction are both mutually connected. They both are mutually connected with each other. What is that mutual connection? It could be called as growth also because number is increasing, and it could be called as reproduction also because from one parent cell, two daughter cells are being formed. Okay,
yes,
so we
ma'am.
call them as mutually coordinated relations. Okay, so inclusive, we use the term mutually inclusive events. So growth and reproduction are mutually inclusive events in whom? In unicellular organisms. So if a question comes like this way, please be careful. Unicellular organisms में growth and reproduction दोनों कैसे है? Mutually inclusive events है. ठीक है? So of course with this, out of the four
Ma'am,
properties we have discussed two already. Yes, beta.
ma'am, when you said mutually inclusive, I gave a thought that the multicellular organisms also, growth and reproduction are mutually like dependent also, right? If you don't grow, how will you reproduce? And if you don't reproduce,
But
then
it is not. It is not. Growth cannot be called as reproduction, and reproduction cannot be called as growth. They are two different phenomena altogether. है ना? But इधर growth हो रहा है या reproduction हो रहा है, ये समझ में नहीं आ रहा है ना?
दोनों same लगता है. Okay, like that. Okay, fine. Ma'am.
Is what they call it. Okay, fine.
Okay.
So we complete with the cell unit of life का chapter, and ये chapter भी अभी हमने just start किया है. So we'll continue with this chapter in tomorrow's session. So tomorrow we'll go ahead with the living world का content आगे वाला. ठीक है?
Ma'am,
Be in time tomorrow. Yes, beta.
you will send this PPT today. Like this wala, living world wala.
I will. I don't mind.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, yeah. Sure. Bye. See you all.
Bye, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.